Hi, my name's Hannah. I'm a doctor and English teacher from England. In today's video, I'm going to talk through my top tips for how to prepare for the reading subsection of the Occupational English Test. Many of you have noticed I haven't uploaded anything in a really long time, but thank you so much to everyone who's been subscribing, liking and commenting on my videos in the meantime. It really means a lot, and I'm excited to be back and making more OET and other medical English videos for you. So keep watching this space and more videos will be coming up soon. Now let's jump into today's topic. A lot of students have asked me about my tips for preparing for the reading. In a subsequent video that will be coming hopefully very soon, I will talk about my specific tips for how to approach the separate sections of the reading test, that being part A, B, C. However, I wanted to first give you some of my top tips for how to prepare for the reading and how to structure your revision. So, tip number 1, don't underestimate the reading. A lot of language learners in general feel that reading is the easiest aspect of learning a language, and therefore it can be very tempting to try and focus all of your time onto what's thought of as the more difficult sections, that being the speaking and the writing. However, the OET reading is particularly difficult, even if you're very good at reading in general. Firstly, it's a lot of very complex vocabulary, often complex grammar, and in a very different format to what you might have seen in your English textbooks or even your medical nursing textbooks. This is because the reading uses guidelines, protocols, instruction manuals, and articles and opinion pieces in the Part C. In addition, the OET reading test requires really fast reading. You need to answer a lot of questions about a lot of text in a really short space of time. Therefore, even if you're amazing at reading, if you can't read quickly, you're still not going to score well at the OET. So, don't forget the reading and make sure you build it in to part of your revision routine. Which brings me on to tip number 2. Careful preparation for the OET reading is needed. Now for this, I would make sure you read something relating to medical English every single day, even if you only have 5 minutes. This brings me swiftly on to tip number 3. Make sure you are reading difficult texts and diverse texts. So, difficult texts. If you are just reading BBC Health News, then this is not hard enough and will not be pushing you enough to make sure you get that grade B or that grade A in the OET. You need to be reading texts with a lot more complex vocabulary and a lot more complex grammar. This will more match what you will see in the exam. Secondly, you need to be reading diverse texts. Now, what I mean by this is not just news articles. You need to be reading texts like the texts you will see in the OET. You need to be reading guidelines, protocols, instruction manuals, articles and opinion pieces, as opposed to just short, simple news articles. In addition, you need to be reading materials aimed at a wide range of healthcare professionals. As I'm sure you already know, the OET reading is exactly the same test whether you are a doctor, a nurse, a physiotherapist, a radiographer, a speech and language therapist, or any of the professions covered by OET. While the texts are usually fairly standardized and will not be incredibly focused on one profession, it is still a good idea to make sure you diversify your reading and you are familiar with some of the vocabulary that will be used by other professions that also take the OET. Now you might be asking, where am I supposed to find all of these different types of text? That's going to be quite difficult. Well, I appreciate that, and therefore I have written an article on my website with links to a wide variety of much more challenging texts. So just check out the link in the description. All of the things I've linked to are available for free worldwide on the internet. So do check that out. if you are looking for resources to use in your reading revision. Tip number 4, use your revision to build your vocabulary. So when you are practicing your reading and reading these different resources, make sure you're highlighting or underlining or however you like to do it and taking out any new vocabulary. What I would then do is either write it down in a notebook, make a note of it on your computer, on your phone, use a vocabulary app. There's quite a lot of them out there. Just have a way of recording that new vocabulary and learning it and go back to it as part of your revision. Therefore, at the same time as practicing your reading, you'll be building your vocabulary bank, which will help you not just with reading, but also with listening and give you a wider range of vocabulary that you can use in your speaking and your writing. Finally, tip number 5, practice your speed reading. As I've said earlier, one of the hardest aspects of the OET reading test is being able to answer all of the questions in such a short space of time. Therefore, you need to be able to read texts very, very quickly. This will involve the skills of skimming and scanning. Now, if these are unfamiliar terms to you, I recommend you look those up on YouTube, and there are a lot of very experienced English teachers with excellent videos explaining these skills and how to use them. This is because even if you are the best reader in the world and you can understand 100% of what's written in front of you, you'll not pass the OET unless you're able to skim over a text and get the rough meaning in a tiny amount of time. Now, how to practice this? Firstly, when you do take a text that you're planning on using for your OET revision, practice reading it really, really quickly using those skimming and scanning skills, and make sure you can read about 3 paragraphs in about 30 seconds. This doesn't mean reading and understanding every single word, but after 30 seconds, you should be able to give the gist of what these paragraphs are talking about. In order to practice this, the best way is lots and lots of past questions. However, unfortunately, we all know that due to the OET being a fairly new exam, there's not a huge amount of material out there. And many of you watching this will have already done every single mock test you can find on the internet. However, the skills of skimming and scanning a text are not unique to the OET. So the good news is there are loads and loads and loads of free resources out there for other similar exams such as the IELTS or the TOEFL. While the texts used in those exams are not exactly the same and the types of questions are not exactly the same as the OET, they are actually very, very similar. So I would advise, as part of your revision strategy, to do some academic IELTS and some TOEFL mock tests that are free on the internet. Again, they're in that same article on my website, that the link is in the description. So go and have a look, practice some of those, and learn about your skimming and scanning. So those are my top 5 tips for how to prepare for the OET. Firstly, don't underestimate the reading section. Make sure you take it seriously. Secondly, make sure you have adequate time to prepare and that you do some reading practice every single day. Thirdly, make sure you are using difficult and diverse texts to practice from. Fourthly, build a vocabulary bank and use your reading practice to learn new vocabulary words. And fifthly and finally, make sure you are excellent at skimming and scanning, and if necessary, use IELTS and TOEFL resources to practice your skimming and scanning skills. Okay, that's everything for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Hit subscribe if you'd like to make sure you see any new videos that are coming up. Check out some of my other OET videos that I've already made, and please let me know in the comments if there's anything else you'd like to see or if you have any questions. See you again soon. Thank you very much. Bye.